ice. Stay tuned to see what just happened. Well, we'll explain it further. Welcome to Comment Cocktails. I'm Derek Somer. Today we're going to talk about clear ice, specifically how to make clear ice super easy with very little effort. I guess that's what easy means. So that was redundant. Subscribe to the show. If you're not a subscriber, you should be a subscriber. Click the bell icon to be notified every single time a new video comes out, like this specific video right here, so that you can learn something about the NewAir ClearIce40. So let's just break down some specifications. This is a clear ice maker. If you haven't figured that out by now you know. It makes 40 pounds of ice a day. That's a lot of ice. I'm not going to make 40 pounds of ice for you today, but I do got a bag. It comes with an ice scoop. And it comes with a little bin to hold said ice. It's in here because that's where bins would go. We'll talk about that in a second. It's got an auto-shutoff sensor, so when it fills up, it stops making ice, which is good. That way you don't go out, come back later on in the day, and there's ice all over your floor, and you're like, what the heck's going on? Or even later, and there's just water everywhere. It takes roughly 15 minutes to cycle to make one of its little bricks of ice, which you probably saw at the beginning of this video if I edit this correctly. It's got an insulated interior, so it's like a big old cooler, which means it's not like a big old refrigerator. Even though there's a compressor back here, there's a fan blowing out air, there's a little siphon here, it's not a refrigerator, which means as this is making ice is just putting into what I use as a Ziploc freezer bag. This video is not sponsored by Ziploc, just to hold your ice. Now, I will say, since we just talked about that, NewAir sent this to me for free to review. So what I didn't want to do is say, hey, I got this cool ice maker, it's super wicked awesome, makes clear ice. I wanted to use it for a while. So pretty much for the entire month of Tiki, so that would be April's videos, Tiki month. Every cocktail that required ice in there, which was all of them, shaken, blended, whatever, used the ClearIce40. I actually made ice ahead of time for it so I could see how it worked and put it through its paces. There's a few things I'm going to highlight that I like. Maybe good for you, maybe you don't like it. That's for you to determine. But this doesn't wire into your house, so you don't. It's not like the refrigerator ones where you run that little weird cord or that copper pipe into so that you can get ice all the time. This one is filled through a reservoir. So you put your ice in, you put your water in here, not ice because that would be counterproductive. It's a water maker. You put your water in here, you fill it to the top of the fill line. You click the on button, and you're ready to go. So that means the water goes into this reservoir. It actually sits a little bit down here as well. And then it starts to shed the water over these cold rods. Ah, that's cold. Right here. Through this little pipe here, drips water down. If you're in the New England area or you're in a place that has snow, you probably understand what an icicle is. You've seen one. You're curious on how they work and why they're always clear. It's because the water continues to run over it and drip off the bottom. Run over it, drip off. Run over it, drip off. It creates those nice layers, which means no oxygen gets trapped in. The white part of the ice that you get is the oxygen stuck in there because when ice freezes from all kinds of directions, the air within the water needs to go someplace. It keeps getting pushed, 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 and then as it expands, it turns white and it gets locked in and you're stuck. There's a lot of bad things that happen when you trap air in ice, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Back to this. So this just flows water over these little metal rod things, so this cooler, it looks like a frozen ice tray basically, metal ice tray, and it just slowly builds and collects until it has enough ice. It takes about 15 minutes. Then it goes poop and it falls out and lands into your tray. Pretty simple. Now, when you're done with it, wipe it down with a dry rag so it doesn't get like mold in there if you're not going to use it for a couple weeks. And there's a drain plug right here in the back. You could drain out all the excess water you haven't used. There's typically going to be some because you'll never freeze it all. If you let it sit in there, it'll eventually turn back to water. The water dripping out now is colder than it was when I put it in from my faucet. Speaking of faucet, you're going to say, well, Derek, the best way to make clear ice is to either boil it or use distilled water. No! Boiling and distilled water still have air in them because it's science. You can't get the air out that easy. Trapping air is what creates the white. Yes, there's mineral deposits and other things that can get pushed in there, but primarily, most of the bulk of that white is the air. So you can try distilled water in here if you want to. I did, just so I could say I did, and it comes out looking just like when I don't. So there you go. It's not that loud. It will be a little bit louder here on the set because the fan is here and it's doing this compressing thing and I have the microphone up there. So it might be a little louder now, but when it's in the house, you're not really even going to know. Other thing I like about it, it's not too outrageous in size. So not only is it portable, I can bring it to a buddy's house if I really want to. It doesn't, because it doesn't wire in, it doesn't take up a lot of space. Makes clear ice. Most ice makers just make ice. There's a differentiation between those two. We will explain that in a minute. And the ice cubes aren't that big. I'll use, you know what? I can use these. Why not? So first off, it usually comes out in a brick. It'll break sometimes because it's just like a template thin line, so you can break them into pieces. They tend to break up when you just throw them in a bag like this. So that's about the size of your ice. Now, one thing you might notice is it's not perfectly clear. More about that in a few seconds. But this ice has some value at that size. Now, typically in the show, I've always used Tavolo ice cubes. You gotta freeze them in ice cube trays and do it the old school way, but they're bigger. For the summertime when you're gonna have cocktails that sometimes can be a little bit potent, tiki, and you need a little bit higher dilution, you probably want cubes that are a little bit smaller, and you can crush them easier. Take these, put them in a Lewis bag, put them in a Lewis bag like this, obviously available at awesometricks.com with mallet. Boom, 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 you break it down. These little guys are gonna break up into beautiful crushed pieces of ice that are clear, so you're not even gonna see them, and they're gonna blend really well. The clear ice. Now, if you're gonna say, let's say we have a scale of 1 to 10. I give the ClearIce40, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10 for the clear ice aspect. The rest of it I think is a pretty good 10. Now, I am a stickler with clear ice, and on their website it says that this is designed to make perfectly clear restaurant quality ice. Yes, I would say this is probably restaurant quality ice. Why not? Perfectly clear, it's getting there. There are some cloudy aspects around it. I got some B-roll to show you me moving it around so it's a little closer up. But some of these, for some reason, get a little bit more cloudy. However, when they sit for a little bit, some of that cloudiness tends to go away. Some of these are really perfectly clear. So it's just not exactly what I'd call 100% consistent. For example, let's just throw these, let's break them up. Throw these in a clear glass of water. You can see them. They're not perfectly clear. I have another shot showing you some of the earlier runs where you can see that they're a little bit more clear with some of the photos. Speaking on that weird clarity issue, in water, it's not, so in a gin and tonic, you might see some of the ice. However, most of it will still remain clear and it doesn't distract from the overall presentation. In an average cocktail, a Mai Tai or whatever, even the zombie, here's a photo of the zombie, it looks beautiful. The lack of 100% ice clarity does not impact the overall aesthetics of the drink. But it's not a 10 out of 10. If you want a 10 out of 10, link above and I will show you how to make ice using a cooler with top-down directional freezing. The problem you're going to have is you're going to need a cutting board, something to cut the ice with, about 28 or more hours of rest time in the freezer with an alarm that you can set up that reminds you to take it out before it fully freezes, and then you could produce large blocks of crystal clear ice. Then there's everybody else. Granted, all my clear ice videos have like 100,000 plus views because people really enjoy it, but there's got to be a give and a take. This is doing it all for you. You push a button, stuff happens, you get ice. No thought, no cutting, no work. But it's only an 8 out of 10. Or you put in a whole lot of work to get your 10 out of 10. So to get that last, what is it, 15%, requires 200% more work. So there's that give and the take. My old ice maker, which if you've ever watched, if you've been watching for years, 6 years plus, or you watch any of the shows from the attic, up in my attic, you'll see I was using ice that was pretty much just white. And that was because my old ice maker that I had before I started using the Tavolo trays and before I started using this, used rods that sat in water and froze the water. It trapped all of the oxygen. It was the complete opposite of good. All it was air. So what you ended up with is a hole in the middle of the ice, very little actual ice that diluted very quickly. The difference here is because it's shedding that water and it's not trapping all the air, is you're getting a longer dilution period. Yes, it looks better, but the dilution time is higher, so you're going to get a drink that lasts longer. Bottom line, don't spend anything over 50 bucks for an ice maker that's going to produce crap ice. Because it just doesn't, it's not a good, effective use of your money. Save up and spend a little bit more to get a product that actually creates ice that does look like restaurant quality. Even if it's only an 8 out of 10. And because NewAir is super cool, they created a coupon code for you. So if you use coupon code CommonMan at newair.com, you're going to save yourself 15% on that ice maker. Sidebar, more videos. One of these playlists is the whole playlist for Tiki Month. Watch us create those cocktails and pay specific attention to the ice. You could see the ice in practice compared with the review telling you about it. Now you have 100% comprehensive knowledge to take with you to decide what type of ice maker is best for you. We're teaching you how to drink.